let's go ahead and at least get some of my technical things done. All right, well, it looks like we're live, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. Happy Friday to you all, and welcome to KUHS Denver, live to you at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. The Self-Care Boss brings to you the Health and Wellness segment. Now, every week I have the unique opportunity of visiting with some pretty rad people, and these are either individuals who love health and wellness and encompass it in their lives, or they're business owners that are tried, true, and are successful at what they do. And on occasion, we have a guest that kind of marries both, which is a business that's focused on health, wellness, they live it, they breathe it, and they've turned it into a successful business venture. Before I really jump into introducing our guest and talking more one-on-one with her, I always love to share kind of a negative in my life for the week. I know it seems a little odd because I focus on positivity all the time, but when we genuinely hear someone else being in a worse position, sometimes all of our worries or the bad things that we've had may not feel so bad, right? And so that's trying to reflect in a better way on kind of our daily lives. But this week, here was my negative. I actually scraped my car. So I was getting out. I know. I was very heartbroken by this. And I was getting out of a very tight garage. And this, you know, I don't know how they framed it, but everyone literally holds their breath going in and out of this space. Well, the trash truck was parked, and I was trying to navigate making it around it so I can get to a meeting, but also not hitting them, and I ended up scraping the car, right? And it showed the little yellow smudges and other things.
A little reminder for you.
Yeah, little reminder. Well, here's
if my husband's listening to this, he's laughing right now because that is me. That I do that often.
I feel so much better. Thank you.
You can laugh about it eventually.
Right, like once you've moved past that enormous amount of, you know, burden on you. I did use some nail polish remover on the paint, which has gotten it off, so I'm not embarrassed driving it now, but I still have to go back and get it fixed. So word to the wise, and this is something, whether or not you're spiritual, most of you know that I am a spiritual individual. I do believe in God, and I always say it's God timing, it's not your timing. So when you're in that rush, try and take a pause and a deep breath and know that you're going to wind up there at a time that's not in your control sometimes, and that's okay. So that's your little bit of negative that hopefully makes it positive for you this week. Today I have with me Hydrate IV's founder, and Katie, I want you to introduce yourself to people and let them know who you are.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. This is already so fun, and I really appreciate being here. So I'm Katie Wafer Gilberg, and I am a Denver native. I am the founder of Hydrate IV Bar. Founded Hydrate in 2016 in the Bonniebury neighborhood of Denver. And I know we'll kind of get deeper into my why, but this was really a passion project for me. I've grown up an athlete, a dancer my whole life, through college, through my professional career. I was a Broncos cheerleader, and so I have just always gravitated towards alternative medicine, health and wellness, and that brought me to meeting you here today.
Yeah, which is so wonderful whenever your cross paths in such odd ways, like we would have never otherwise met. But your passion for health and wellness and then staying the best version of you possible and everything you were doing led you down this path. And how did you decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start up a business and it's going to provide IV therapy. I'm sure it wasn't that, you know, you woke up and this is, oh my gosh.
I know. Part of it was that spontaneous. You know, I have a business background. I went to college, have a business degree, and so started working in medical sales. That was my foot in the medical industry. And I think by nature, just my personality, I love sales. I am more entrepreneur-minded than I realized. But it more so was I saw a need. I was so passionate about these services, and I could not believe that they weren't more readily available in Denver at the time. I saw other markets really taking advantage of just the accessibility and education. And at the time, a lot of IV therapy was being promoted in Vegas and Miami for hangovers.
Yes.
And it's great for that, but
cure.
they were totally missing the boat. There's this huge wellness component. And so I really wanted to create a brand, a wellness brand that had the same professionalism, medical standards, safety protocols. We have an incredible medical team, but it is a boutique setting and it's comfortable, and we really focus on an elevated experience that I would want as a customer.
Right, yeah, and it helps to have that kind of mindset, because then you're really setting the bar a little higher than any other time. How long ago was that you decided you wanted to move forward with your vision?
It took me about a year.
Okay.
It's a funny story how I really, so we go back to, what was my business plan, what was my why.
Yeah.
I had this idea, I could not shake it, and it really was just this voice in my head that thought, if you don't try, you're going to regret it so much.
Yeah. Oh,
And I went, so, when people, at the time, I signed a lease on my space. I don't necessarily recommend this now. It was a risk. I could afford the risk at that time. But I signed a lease without a business plan. I thought, there was no question in my mind that it wouldn't wouldn't work. I knew it would work. I was doing anything possible to make it work.
Right.
And I just stuck to that dream and stuck to that vision. And I do realize there was a lot of, fortune to that.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think so many people that I talk to, other entrepreneurs, they talk to me about just business and ideas in general, and they have better ideas than I had, but they don't execute on them. And so I really, the timing for me, the biggest thing was just believing in myself and going for it.
Yeah.
And at the time, I really was praying that one would work. I, at the time, didn't have any idea that I would be franchising. We're in 4 states. 7 years later, we're in 4 states. Thank you. So it has grown bigger than bigger than I imagined. And I really think it's because we just, we've evolved with the times. Even with 2020 and our word was pivot. We're just going to continue to pivot. And so we've grown really intentionally, and I think because we haven't gotten too big for our britches, too big for ourselves, it's been able to, we've been able to sustain it.
Yeah. Well, you shared so much, and I want to dissect that if that's okay. 7 years and 4 locations, and that has expanded outside of Colorado. That's a milestone in itself, especially because you highlighted 2020 and 2021. Technically 2 out of your 7 years were, decimated by an external factor. So it's 5 years, right, with 4 locations. That's almost a location a year, which is tremendous work that you've done. You shared a really great nugget, and that is to just go for it no matter how imperfect an idea or a thought is. And often that's the biggest thing that holds people back, right? It's the ability to take on a risk regardless of how uncalculated or calculated that it might be. Now, did you have some support that was behind you along this in terms of your family, environment, friends, or was everyone kind of like, go do that and we'll hold some popcorn back here?
I have an incredibly supportive family.
Okay.
At the time, though, I remember telling my parents, and I think it was this mix of we're so excited and we believe in you, and what are you doing?
Right.
Do you really understand this magnitude? And so it was excited nerves all around.
Yeah.
I remember telling my parents, my dad said, what happens if this doesn't work? And I just smiled and I said, then, you and Mom have a really great basement. I move back in with you. I go get another job.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, I wasn't worried. Yeah. They were probably worried. They didn't want me living with them again. No.
They're like, we really want you to succeed at this.
But that was, because I have the family that I have, I knew I had a support system and a safety net to fall back on.
That's wonderful.
Which was huge. And they still, today, they still are huge. I have 4 younger siblings and their spouses and aunts and uncles, and I have a big family, especially in Colorado, and they all are wearing our logo and going to events and passing out flyers still. So it's a lot of grassroots marketing, and if I didn't have all of them supporting me and building me
Right.
up, I definitely wouldn't
Yeah.
be here.
It takes a village for any dream
does.
to really come to life, and that's
does.
amazing that you have that support.
Thank
Now,
you.
earlier on you shared about your career and being someone who is relatively active, dance, cheer, all of these things, and then learning about IV therapy and its use for hangovers, which was probably actually how I had heard about it. Now, I don't drink anymore, right, but I don't, and so I don't use it for those things, but a lot of people only see it for that. So can we expand a little bit on the fact that you're a boutique type of location, but that you're actually a full service, you're medical providers, you take health and factor in safety of your clients?
Absolutely. You know, hydrate, the main component is hydration. So any sort of dehydration. We get dehydrated from physical activity, from the sun, from altitude, from
Yes.
overindulging. So these are all, pieces that when you are properly hydrated, whether
Right.
that is, drinking adequate amounts of water or that quick fix of the IV, no doubt that's going to make you feel a lot better.
Right.
But the benefits of so many of these vitamins is really amazing. And so many people, what we find, clients come in and they don't understand how good their body is supposed to feel.
Okay.
And
Yes,
I think we
that's
get
awesome.
used to, I don't sleep very well, and so I'm waking up groggy, and it's just this cycle.
Yeah.
And so at Hydrate IV Bar, it's really important to our team. IV therapy is one piece of the puzzle, but really it's nutrition in general.
Yeah.
And this is something where, we're continuing to learn and lean on other professionals. But we want to be a space where people come to us, and yes, we provide these services, but we want to be, we want to educate on, what does your sleep look like?
Right.
How are you managing stress?
Everything that plays into it.
Yes, what are you putting into your body? Do you have environmental toxins in your house? I mean, this holistic approach,
Yes,
literally.
totally.
So many, magnesium is great before bedtime, great to help you sleep. So we
Yeah.
really dig into the benefits of these vitamins and minerals, and also realize that there's not one size fits all. Every body is different, and the body is amazing and amazing at healing itself when
Yes,
it's given
the right things.
in
Yeah.
not all cases, but when given what it needs.
Right.
So those are kind of the layers that we'd love to start peeling back.
Absolutely. So generally, is your primary business concept based on those clients that come in for IV, or are there additional services that you offer to try and assist them getting on that right track?
Yeah, about 50% of our revenue is from members.
Okay.
We have a membership. It's once a month is a great regular regimen for IV therapy. So most of our clients come in once a month for an IV, and then they may get injections in between. So these are vitamin injections. Vitamin D, great for your immune system.
Yes.
MIC or amino acids. We have B12, which is great for energy, mental acuity.
Yeah.
Vitamin C, glutathione. So
Yeah.
actually the injections is a large piece of our business.
Sure.
People that are maybe they don't have the amount of time to sit and enjoy a full IV therapy experience. It usually takes about an hour.
Yes.
So that's a treat once a month to be able
Yeah.
to sit your feet back and do. But
It
the
is
injections,
therapeutic to just not do anything, because you can't when you've
Absolutely.
got an IV in you. So
yeah, you're
you just
literally
have to
hooked
leave your
up.
own.
And we love that, and that's the feedback we get from so many clients is we've created a space that has allowed them to, we say, step out of the hustle and into hydrate, because we want you to put your phone down, unwind, listen to calm music, and that in itself, just to see people's blood pressure
Go
just
way
kind
down.
of,
Yeah.
plus we have incredible registered nurses who are there to, some people want to sit and talk the entire time, others take a nap and fall asleep. It's quite relaxing. So we really, part of our experience is tailoring that to the client and what they need at that time, knowing that
Yeah.
every visit is different as well.
Yeah. So there's a product that you all have, and it's a product I've seen at different IV locations too. It's called the NAD Plus, right?
Yes.
Because it is a mammoth of a word, so I'm not even going to try and butcher it myself. But it's got so many benefits to people just for their overall health. Can we speak a little bit about what that is and why it's been such a widely used item?
Sure. NAD is, it's in all of our living cells. It's the anti-aging. A lot of people, it's the fountain of youth, the feel-good kind of coenzyme, and it was used quite a bit in addiction treatment, mental health, and more so you're seeing a shift a little bit more on general wellness, certainly, but performance, recovery. A lot of athletes are using it to help heal. And then there's the aging component, and it's, how are we, kind of the rusting of our bodies.
Yes.
Things start, we get lower energy, our energy's depleting, our bodies, feels like it's rusting a little bit. So NAD, there's infusions, and then we also do the injections, and we have, we basically have medical consultations with our medical team, and then we can help kind of identify a protocol that's most appropriate based on what you need, whether that is pain, inflammation, energy, mood. It's great with hormones. So
numerous benefits to that one thing. What has been the biggest misconception that you probably have heard, or maybe concerns that people have that you have been grateful that they've brought it forward, because then that's your opportunity to really try and fix that? But what are some of those that we can try and debunk for people?
Sure. It's so important for us and our brand that people, that we do not cut corners as the medical service. This needs to be treated as such. You are literally injecting something into someone's body, and so it can be done a little bit more loosely than a traditional hospital setting, but having the same protocols, the vendors that we use, the compounding pharmacies, everything is like thoroughly vetted, and so safety is by far number one. And it still surprises me because we can be casual, we can do B12 injections at a sporting event, and but people ask me, are these real nurses?
Okay.
And
interesting. So they feel
100%, absolutely, yes.
That's a common.
But that is common. They want to know.
Wow.
So for us, with our entire team, we lean on education and gaining clients' trust. We want you to trust us. We understand this is a medical service, and so anyone that you are, building a relationship and trusting to do this, that piece of it's really important.
Makes it a lot better and easier. I feel like, what do you say to the ones that are afraid of needles? Because there's a lot of people that are out there that are apprehensive of needles, and then they're especially more so with IV because it's a little bit,
absolutely, a little bit more. Well, it's more invasive,
intense, right?
I am very sensitive to those that are nervous because I was terrified. I mean, I would get nervous and kind of, I'd start sweating in the back of my neck and just thinking about it. And we really, I think it goes back again to building trust with our team and the medical professionals that are administering the service. So really talking through every single step of the way. As soon as a client knows what to expect, what they may feel like, they understand the training and experience, and all of that helps so much. And then we do our best with the tiny distractions. So whether that is having aromatherapy or soft music or turning the lights
so you're
down.
Not focused specifically
you're distracting. You're distracting. It is an initial poke, and then the needle doesn't stay in your arm. There's a catheter. You can move your arm around. You can cuddle in a blanket. We warm the saline, so it's all the little touches to make it as comfortable as we can. But we also do understand that it may not be for everyone.
Right.
And, we just hope that that's where a lot of people, the injections are, you know, it's a tiny quick poke, doesn't hurt.
Right.
So that might be a great option to get started if you're on the
slowly
fence.
move into it, and see how wonderful you feel after taking the injections. You're more apt to then, you know, endure the pain for the result, right? If you perceive that there's that level of pain. So all of your locations, are they differently operated in terms of hours, or is there a difference between one location to the next in their offerings, or are they pretty uniform, and what does that look like?
Yeah, so they're pretty uniform. That's our goal, at least, is that, you know, Hydrate IV Bar has certain brand standards, and whether it's a corporate location, so myself, I have 4 spas, like you mentioned, 3 in Denver, 1 in Boulder, and then in 2020 I began franchising. So to date, we have 10 spas that are operating. We have 7 more under construction that will all open here in the next few months.
Oh my gosh,
so we
how great.
are about to double, which is really exciting. And it's extremely important to us that any client that goes to a spa in Boulder gets the same experience and feels, you know, the same, whether it's the aesthetics of the space, the training of the team, that it really is a similar experience, whether they're in Dallas, Scottsdale, soon to be Salt Lake City. So we do have, you know, other operators. Some of our franchisees are former clients of mine or former employees.
Right, that have seen kind of the process or the benefit and have really gotten around it.
Yeah, so I have, you know, one of my nurses, for instance, she was a former nurse of mine, and she is one of our franchisees. She has 2 spas, and it's just been so, it's kind of like a proud mama moment for me because, you know, she was under my wing, and now I'm watching her, and she has, you know, she's building this extremely successful business for her family with her husband and their 2 kids, and now, you know, I'm in a different light where I get to motivate and teach her in a different sense, and so franchising for that reason has been really exciting and wonderful.
Right, and rewarding.
Very rewarding, yes. And but, you know, we're all representing each other, and that's also been part of our strategy with growth, is just really growing strategically with the right people, because we do all, you know, we're extensions of each other.
Absolutely, and what reflects or happens in one ultimately is how people can perceive it in next. And if it's a great experience at their Boulder, then you want them to be able to frequent the other locations. So has your drive to grow, has that been controlled by the individuals that you've met that match that persona and have that interest and aptitude, or has it been market driven in that you really want to be in certain states? So how have you selected that?
Yeah, in the beginning it came from just demand and interest from close family, friends, kind of our inner circles clients. And this, you know, model for growth really made sense at the time. It still does, but at the time when we were considering you know, growing within corporate or franchising, every time you go into a different state, there's different medical laws, there's different franchise laws, and the medical professionals, the medical directors, the doctors overseeing, as well as the nurses, have to be registered in their states. And then there's also compounding laws with the pharmacies in their states. So we really felt that it was mostly appropriate, you know, operationally we could support, we have the brand, we have the marketing, but to really let their team who's physically in some of these markets be those experts and run their own business in that sense made sense. So that's why we chose to franchise. We have identified markets, kind of our top markets. Everything so far has been organic and just fortunate. I went to college in Arizona, so I love Arizona. We have friends and family there, so that certainly helped. And expanding, you know, from surrounding states from Colorado has really helped us to support. But now we're ready to, the last 6 months, we really have shifted the focus a little bit more on lead generation and marketing and tapping into new markets. So, you know, Carolinas we'd love to be in, Nashville's a great market, Florida. So
that's so exciting.
Hopefully we do this a year from now.
Right, there'll be some
spread out a little on the east
to talk about. Well, for now, it's actually a pretty solid, I would say, a regional growth that you have had with Utah, Arizona, and Colorado. That's that Rocky Mountain region you've been touching quite well. So, yeah, it'll be great to see that expansion across. Now, what haven't I asked you that you're really hoping to get out there for folks? Because I've been drilling you on questions. Back back and forth.
No, I love
feel like
it.
if there's something we want them to know, let's share it with them.
Sure. You know, I love, and my team, we love getting in front of people and talking. I mean, again, I've talked about it quite a bit, but just the education component and really helping people understand what they should expect. Some people are expecting this to be this miracle cure, and you come in and you just, have this euphoric feeling. And that may not be the case. It may, but, it really is, you're filling your tank back up to full. And sometimes when I get our services, I feel extremely energized. The B vitamins are great for energy, and I feel my mood shift, and I kind of feel giddy. Like I'm just, I feel full. I feel ready. There's other times where I get the magnesium, and I'm super relaxed, and I want to take a nap, and that's okay too. And so really, just getting people to be really intuitive with their body and tune into what they may need at that time. So everyone's stress is different. If you're under the weather, if you've been traveling, if you are just on the go. I mean, what we hear so often from clients is, I can't afford to get sick. I can't get run down. I'm just go, overstimulated. And the power of a 1 hour kind of reset session makes a huge difference. So just, we love answering any questions. You're welcome to, contact us online. HydrateIVBar.com is our website. Our Instagram is also a really great place where you can see photos and videos and get interviews with our nurses and get kind of some sneak peeks as well. That handles hydrate_IVBar. But really, I mean, feel free to you can call us, come in, see the space. We're not going to pressure you to do anything at that time. But I really think you'll be amazed if you just come in with an open mind and meet our team. Getting people in the door is the biggest challenge. Once they're in there, they love it. And word of mouth and referrals have been, really the big piece of our business.
Well, it goes a long way.
Just give it a try.
Well, that's such a great note for us. I feel like to kind of reflect back on our talk today, we really journeyed through how you chose to be in the profession that you've in, and your personal why and motivation, all the way to this great growth that you've had, and this determination to either fail or succeed, but just pursue a dream or a passion, all the way into really having that support from family and friends that are your cheerleaders and reflect some of your values as well as you put your foot forward. And folks can find you. I know I found all of your socials online, and I do this quite often, which is exactly what you said. Take a sneak peek, see the videos, see the content that's out there, and you do it so you can actually see, is this a reflection of the industry or of people that you want to work with? And are the results that they're talking about truly something that I can see captured? I will give a personal plug for the industry. I would consider myself someone who focuses on healthy eating and a healthier lifestyle, but whatever you eat and whatever you drink, you still need certain vitamins and minerals that you don't get necessarily from the nutrition that you have on a daily basis. And so whether you want to consume that orally with pills, I'm not one that takes those types of things, or if you want to go to an IV center and just spend an hour of your time, exactly what you were sharing, it's an hour of therapy, and it's an hour of self for yourself that you're doing this, and you can choose to spend it doing whatever you'd like to, or you can just choose to be in that moment. So
absolutely,
I encourage anyone and everyone, if you haven't already given IV therapy a shot, please do. We'll include the links and the information in the chat section at a later point in time. We've of course been here on KUHS Denver. We're here every Friday at 1 p.m. Mountain Time with a beautiful guest, usually in person. Sometimes they're virtual if they're out of state. And I think I've touched on a number of things, and we can probably close out.
I know. We have, just stay tuned. I mean, we have 2 spas, one in Castle Rock, one in Westminster, that are opening.
So exciting.
End of October, November. The Westminster location's in Walnut Creek, so that'll be very exciting for us. And just something to note, if you're a member at One Hydrate IV Bar, you can visit any of the spas.
Which is wonderful.
So,
Well, thank you again for spending some of your afternoon with me, sharing about yourself, and hopefully in the future when we bring you back on, we can hear all the amazing updates between now and then. And honestly, based on your track record, I feel like that's going to be a lot to hear and catch up on here in the next year.
I hope so. I think so. I have an amazing team, so I'm
Right?
feeling really good about it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.